Good morning, everyone. My name is Howe, and I've been part of the NewGate community for the last 10 years. I actually started my teaching career here at NewGate 15 years ago as a substitute science teacher. But my real career started as an assistant in the lower elementary class, and my first group of students included some of the graduates in this very graduating class. I then went on to teach in the upper elementary and served as administrator for many years before I decided to move on and explore other opportunities throughout the world. With that said, I want to share with you all that the single greatest honor I've experienced, professionally at least, is to be able to deliver this commencement speech for the NewGate Graduating Class of 2020. Please accept my most sincere appreciation for being asked to be this year's graduation speaker. And perhaps the only emotion I feel stronger than a humble sense of appreciation is my overwhelming pride in the graduates that are here before us. As I mentioned, I have known many of you and your families for years. And there's no stronger testament to the power of a Montessori education and the value of a NewGate education than the character of these young men and women before me. So again, to you all, the students, my most sincere thanks. And before I deliver this parting message, I want to acknowledge and thank your parents. It is hard work raising Montessori children. In choosing Montessori, you made the decision to empower your children. You decided you would rather have sons and daughters that think outside the box, even when that means way outside the box. You made the decision that ethics and doing right is right because it is right, not because doing wrong comes with consequences. I do not mean to suggest that your children will never make mistakes. As I've said to many of our graduates over the years, whatever you've done, I've probably done worse. This is not meant to justify bad decisions, but to help them understand that I don't want to preach, but would rather engage them in a conversation that leads them to understanding rather than the fear of punitive repercussion. Dr. Montessori always talked about the value and the importance of raising young men and women, raising children, because they are the future leaders. So, parents, again, my most sincere appreciation for trusting NewGate, trusting Montessori, and allowing us the opportunity to help educate and raise your children. So, on to today's message. First of all, I am really sorry that I'm not able to deliver this message in person. When you first asked me to deliver this commencement speech, I had visions of sharing hugs with you all, probably hugs with funny comments under our breath as you walk across the stage. Tegan, Matthew, Nina, Madison, my threat still extends into all of your colleges. I think we all know how the story has gone. We do not yet know where this story ends, or if it does end. But that does get me to today's message. We continue on. When I first thought of the title of this speech, it was going to be called Change. Having rescheduled it and modified it multiple times now, I would rather call it Evolution. So, graduates, you are completing your high school education. You've all completed many things in the past. You've finished other levels of education, levels in sports, all sorts of activities in your life, but probably nothing like finishing high school. For many of you, this is the culminating experience of your childhood. You will be going on to university, where, in any other year, many of you will be living on your own without the daily physical support of your families. By the way, for those of you who choose other paths, a path outside of higher education, please do not ever believe that a choice of attending college or pursuing other goals is a measure of your abilities, and certainly not your intelligence. Choose a path. If it doesn't work for you, change directions. Whether you head on to pursue higher education or choose another career path, you will encounter people who are not passionate about their chosen path. Many people are going to start in one direction and ultimately make decisions that lead them to unhappiness, even when they are making decisions that they think will make them successful. No one starts down a path thinking, I hope to be unhappy, lose touch with my loved ones, end up in trouble, etc. So you will face decisions every day of your life, and the first bit of advice I want to give to you is, there is no easy answer to life's challenges. We, the teachers, your parents, may give you advice, but what I would say to you, to us, is instead of telling you what to think, we can help teach you how to think. There is no one right answer to all the challenges life throws your way. This is meant to say that I want you to listen to others, but then think about how their advice applies to your situation. Like Montessori education, I want you to think beyond this situation and try to think about where this situation takes you. When you feel like you are confronting one of these challenges, don't feel overwhelmed by others' advice or if they say it's easy or should be easy. Like my father has always said to me over the years, your emotions and feelings are always rational because they are felt by you, even if they seem irrational. In making decisions that are not superficial, it is my hope that you make choices in life that lead you to a place where you wake up every morning thinking you are lucky to wake up and do what you do, to be with who you are, excited to get out of bed. Notice, I did not say successful or rich. I said lucky. My second words for you, decide what happiness is to you. Do not get caught up in anyone else's vision of happiness, or probably what is more appropriately a demonstration of what they think success looks like. All of my friends from high school and college are constantly on vacation and have beautiful, happy families. I know this because I see it on Facebook and Instagram. Don't let an absence of unhappiness be your description of happiness. I'll say that again. Don't let an absence of unhappiness be your description of happiness. Make decisions that feel right to you, even when they may not be popular, practical, or even seemingly sensical. My third bit of advice is make decisions that leave you feeling like you are making a contribution to the world. Me, for example, choosing education as a career and being able to be here with you right now, I feel like I've made a difference, hopefully mostly good, but I think it's fair to say I've impacted your lives, and that brings me happiness. And more importantly, that's what makes me feel successful. And speaking of happiness, don't ever stop looking for opportunities for happiness and meaning. Do not become complacent with what makes you happy now. Actively engage in the process and make the pursuit of happiness part of your life's routine. Don't ever lose the sense of difference in what brings us money versus what brings us meaning. Don't forget that those are two entirely separate things. So during this process of life, as we address these challenging situations that they're forcing us to constantly make decisions. And so the fourth bit of advice I have for you is that when you're making these decisions, do not fear the unanticipated alternatives that come up when our plans go awry. I'm going to say that again. Do not fear the unanticipated alternatives. How many situations have we been in where things haven't gone according to plan? You are listening to me right now, this very minute, on a recording in the field of a church, 2 months after you're supposed to have graduated. Rather than feeling discouraged, Alex and his classmates, you all, made a decision to change plans and find an alternative that worked for you. Is this ideal? Maybe not, but you found an alternate path and you made it work for you. And you will all experience things in life, things like this. And so I don't want to tell you that things happen for a reason or all things work out in the end, but again, just embrace that alternative. And that's a really hard thing and often discouraging. But if we trust that we have the skills, know how to ask for help, and work to find solutions, we will discover paths that would never have been presented should things have worked out accordingly in the first place. Again, when something doesn't work out, don't fear the uncertainty, because what these situations often lead to is something beautiful. Yeah. And the next thing I want to share is ask for help. And again, there's so many, you hear us talking about asking for help all the time. You know, you all look like adults, you're as tall as adults. Most of you are taller than me. You can serve in the military. But always remember that you're never too old to ask for help. And there's no shame in asking for help. As we're trying to deal with these challenging situations and make these difficult decisions, and you're trying to figure out the right path and navigate which way to go, making wrong turns, relying on others, you need to be able to ask for help. And remember that they may not have the right answer either. But if they can support you and be there for you, chances are you're going to end up where you're supposed to be. And when you feel like you've taken that wrong turn, don't be afraid to try to turn a different way. As you all head out into the world beyond NewGate, remember to try different things until you find out what makes you feel lucky every day when you wake up. Don't settle for complacency, no matter how successful you think you seem to everyone else. In a book that I read recently, How Will You Measure Your Life by Clayton Christensen, he wrote, Because if the decisions you make about where you invest your blood, sweat, and tears are not consistent with the person you aspire to be, you will never be that person. So I'm going to read that again, just because it's, well, at least for me, it was profound and powerful, and I just needed to read it a couple times. He wrote, because if the decisions you make about where you invest your blood, sweat, and tears are not consistent with the person you aspire to be, you'll never be that person. So, thus far I've shared the following. There are no easy answers in life's challenges. Decide what happiness is for you. Make decisions that leave you feeling like you're making a contribution. Do not fear the hiccups along the path, and ask for help. So I know I'm talking about a bunch of different things and sort of going on different topics, but I think what I wanted to share and focus on after all of that is the idea that getting something wrong doesn't mean you have failed. If you fail, I want you to think about it differently. You have, in your failure, you have actually learned what doesn't work. Graduates, while I hope to leave you with something inspiring, I want to tell you, you will fail many times. You will face these challenging situations. You will make decisions that you think will make you happy. You will endure detours. You will have to ask for help to navigate. And through all of this, there will be failures. Well, at least for many of us. So what I want to leave you with as you leave NewGate is something different. You are all smart in your own way. I trust that you're all wonderful people. But you will make decisions that you regret. You will ultimately hurt someone's feelings. You will do things that you are embarrassed of, things that you're not proud of. And as I mentioned earlier, no one intends to do these things, but sometimes we do. You will make decisions that blow up in your face. You may lose everything. You may hurt someone. There's so many examples of failure, many that I've personally experienced, which is why I want to share this with you. But what I want you to know is that when you fail or feel like you have failed, you can recover. You will, and your failures ultimately teach you what is not working. Do not live your lives in fear of failure. As these paths take you through challenging decisions and unprecedented situations, always remember that you can evolve. As I teach in my upper elementary curriculum, evolution is a series of successful mutations, change. In your lives, you will make mistakes and feel periods of despair and feeling like you don't know what the right decision is. What I want to leave your high school experience with, or what I want you to leave your high school experience with, is the reality that you can always change, and you can make decisions, you can screw up royally, and the best any of us can do is do our best to consistently try to do better and make better decisions. And more importantly, if you find yourself feeling like you failed, or ever identify yourself as a failure, evolve. Make decisions that make you happy. Embrace the challenging decisions that you will encounter, the times where you make the wrong choice, go down the wrong road, and endure the happiness it reveals to you. And remember the reality that you, like all life before us, can evolve and become what you're meant to become. So in closing, fail gloriously. Make yourself lucky. Figure out what makes you happy. Contribute. And when you fail at that, learn from it and fail again until you wake up feeling lucky. You will all remember this year, and you will all be remembered as a class that didn't have a second semester. Senioritis never really had its opportunity. Let us not waste any more time thinking about how this year failed us. I won't think about how my visions of being with you all never came to fruition. Let's move on. Let's learn. Let's evolve. So, seniors, the senior class of 2020 at NewGate School, congratulations. Go out, fail, get up, find your happiness. And for those of you who had to endure me for years, live the dream. Thank you so much.